Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Conelanders here, your host of the Conelanders Assetto Corsa League, here for a wrap-up of the Season 2 Assetto Corsa Championship. We'll start out with some fan vote nominations. Look in the description below for how to vote in these categories. The first award we have is for the Darlington Stripe. This award goes to the biggest crash, the best crash, the most interesting crash of the season, and the winners will be those who were involved in the crash. Top left, we have Sharky's incident in Monza, which was a big one right there at the beginning. We all know Monza and its chicanes are prime territory for crashes, and this was no exception. Top right, we have myself, Conedodger, and Cervantes in Spa. Also somewhat Goonsis involved here in a big incident that really piled up most of the field there in the final chicane. Bottom left, we had an incident between Georgian and Spooky Squid at Spa again. That one was pretty obvious. There was just a conflict of space there, and it ended up with Squid straight up into the wall. Bottom right, we had the big one in Heat 2 at Spa with Maestro, Sebi, Nihan, and most of the field there. Just a huge pile up at the start, and that made for one quiet race. I'll let those play out one more time so you can review and cast your vote. Next one we have is finish of the season, and this does not go to the driver that is the most finish, it goes to the best finish in any race or heat of the season. The first one we have is between Magnet and Mach in Silverstone Heat number 1. The margin between these two ended up being 0.005 of a second. But don't just let the closeness of the finish at the line decide your vote. Also, vote on what you think was the best battle. Top right, we have the battle between myself and Cervantes in the Spa feature race. This ends up being a 0.07 of a second difference at the line. Bottom left, we have the Silverstone feature race, which ends up being a battle between myself and Spooky Squid, with a 0.05 of a second difference at the line. Easy for me to say. And finally, in the bottom right, we have the Barcelona feature, which was a battle between Magnet and Cervantes, with about a 0.1 of a second difference between the two, but again, consider the actual battle that was going on, not just the finish to the line. Next up, we have the recovery drive of the season, and this goes to the driver that did the best at overcoming some kind of bad start or incident that put them into a bad shape in the race. Number 1 is Sharky at the top left with a 11th place gain at Monza in the feature after the big crash in turn 1. Top right, we would have Maestro at Spa in the feature race with a 5th place gain there. Bottom left, we would have Gem Knight with a 8th position gain in this Silverstone feature. And bottom right, we will have Goonsis with a 6th position gain in the Barcelona feature. Now in these, don't just take the consideration in for the positions gained, but you may also want to go back and watch these people's perspectives in the race to see what they had to overcome and just how they managed it. We had a fair share of these this season. The Miatas really proved to make the races a little bit more turbulent throughout the field. I don't know exactly why that is, but it did make for some really good recoveries. Lastly, we have again the best commentary of the season, and this one goes to the person you think had the best race commentary or was the most entertaining to watch. These are people that are doing live or post commentary for their races. Not everybody is doing that at this point, but the goal of the league is to have everybody or most everybody that is competing doing some kind of their own commentary. The 4 nominees this season, and those nominees come from the Discord channel that the group has, are myself, Conedodger, 25, Powers2440, and Mach 1 Fireman. So if you aren't familiar with any of those personalities, please go back and watch some of their races, get a feel for what their commentary was like. Or if you have been watching along in the season and somebody in this group really kind of caught your attention as having good, entertaining commentary, that is kind of where your vote should be headed. This next group here are awards that I want to hand out personally for things I noticed throughout the season or things that I just feel like giving an award for. The first one here is the best paint scheme. Georgian95 does most of the paint schemes for our league, and he takes requests from people to kind of match their wants into a similar theme for all the cars. I'm very appreciative of this. I really love the concept of it. It makes it feel like, a big cohesive group. My favorite of those is a bit of a collab between Georgian and Les Cubes, who together worked out this paint scheme that really, I think, makes this car look very good. I'm not a huge fan of the look of the ND, but this paint scheme really made this car look sharp, and I enjoyed seeing it throughout the season. Lastly, it is the Spirit of Racing Award, which I will explain as we go. This award is something that is very much so just my personal opinion, and is something that I just kind of keep mental note of as we go through the season, and that is the spirit of racing. And what I'm looking for here is people who just really focus on having a good time, having good races, improving throughout the season, racing people and racing people cleanly, but when things go wrong, to keeping the level head and just understanding that, just having a good understanding of what racing is about. And for this season, who I think showed the most of that was Spooky Squid. Squid went into the season running in the mid-pack of the field, but by the end of the season had worked his way up to getting a heat victory and some podium finishes, despite having some interesting moments throughout the season, including some crashes, some self-spins, people taking him out. He never let that get to him, and he always kept his spirits high, and that is why I am giving you, Mr. Squid, this award. And lastly, for the actual season championship awards, the overall championship goes to me, Cone Dodger. I basically got gifted this championship by Sharky not being able to compete in Barcelona. I think I realize, and everyone realizes, that Sharky would be our champion again this season. However, you gotta be there to win, and he was not there. So I will take this championship, but I know personally I have a lot of improving to do before I can actually take a championship from Sharky. And especially as we head into the next season, there are some changes afoot that will make this kind of situation less likely to happen. But we'll get into that later. In the end, though, we did have a pretty good battle with Maestro to the end there, only 4 points separating us. If Maestro and myself had a little bit cleaner of a time in Spa, that could have been even closer between the three of us, me, Sharky, and Maestro. But good job to Maestro and Goonsis, who also had another strong performance this season. And I look forward to battling all of you guys again next season, and I'm sure there will be new contenders in there. Rookie of the Year this season, or Rookie of the Season, I probably need to change the name of that, but that goes to, and again, another good battle separated by only 4 points, the Holy Moose. Moose had a good consistent season. He had a really good performance in Spa, which gave him the advantage in this championship. Gem Knight came home in second place there and also had a very similar season to Moose. The two of them showed really good pace throughout the season, showed a lot of class, and overall they had a very good battle there in the Rookie Championship. 25 coming home in third place in Rookies. So, with that said, I guess it is time to announce that there will indeed be a Season 3 of the Assetto Corsa Conelanders Championship. We are going to take a little bit of a break. Actually, we're in it right now. We decided to take 2 weeks off in between seasons to kind of regroup and reconsider some things. We have indeed made some changes to the rules, and we will be doing things a little bit differently in the season ahead. One thing we did decide on, though, is that we are sticking with the MX-5 Cup car. We tested a lot of other cars, and I mean a lot of other cars. I probably spent 24 solid hours driving different cars and testing things and talking with people, trying to figure out what car to use for the next season, but have decided that sticking with the MX-5 Cup is the way to go, and that seems to be the general consensus. It made for very entertaining races, and I think people are still enjoying it and finding a challenge in it, so it is worth keeping around for another season. We will be doing a longer season format of 8 events, which would be 16 races, which means we'll be able to do drop races, so you'll be able to drop a week. Say you couldn't make it 1 week, or you do all the races and you have one bad race, we will drop that lowest result. Field sizes will also be increasing. We have one race where the track only supports 18 cars, but at the rest of them we will be supporting 20 plus. I haven't totally decided what number it's going to be yet. but look for it to be somewhere between 20 and 22. That also means that we will have a B main as well as the A main, which means that everybody that competes every weekend will have 2 races to compete in. So if you don't make the main feature, you still have 2 races that you A, get to compete in, and B, get to record video for. This was a really big suggestion from last season. It's something I planned all along, but we needed to get the organization of everything straight, and hopefully now we got that in order, and we'll be able to do that for the upcoming season. There's lots of other small changes, but I don't want to go into too much detail, leave you in a little bit of suspense as for things we are doing next season. I will tell you we have a handful of spots open. Last season I took 36 entries, but due to the way that life works, not everybody can be there every week. So hopefully by allowing larger car counts, I can allow a larger group of people to compete in general. So what I'm going to do is open up the entries for everybody that is already in the league or already like part of the group and everything like that in the dirt rally side, and take those entries first, see what kind of numbers we get there, and then open up probably somewhere between, I would say, 5 and 10 more spots available. So if you were interested, if you've been watching along and you think this is something you want to compete in, if you are interested in doing this kind of content creation, shoot me an email. I will have my email address in the description. But make sure you title the email in the subject line, Conelanders Assetto Corsa, or I may miss it. And basically all I want to see in that email is a little blurb about why you want to join, about yourself, your sim racing experience, and stuff like that, that you kind of understand the general idea that we have with the league and stuff like that. And I will pick some of those to give invites for next season. There is limited space. We still have a car count limit at every track, so I don't want to let more people in than could possibly fit at some of the tracks, because then we would have to exclude people from competing just because we have too many people, and I don't want to do that. If you make it into signing up for the league, I want you to be able to compete every week. So that's why I'm kind of starting to put a limit on the entries that we get for the league. You don't have to give me your Tinder profile, but just a little bit about why you'd like to join the league. And just some quick thanks. Moose, Holy Moose, couldn't have done the whole, organization of the heats and the weight penalty stuff and the keeping track of everything without you, so thank you for all the work on setting up that. Georgian, for your help with the paint schemes and everything like that, and help with the Discord stuff. Getting everybody organized onto Discord has been a huge part of the growth of the league and everything like that, so thank you for that. 25 numbers helped me with the slate maker this season, and that took a huge amount of time out of my week. For the positive, gave me a lot more time because that makes it much quicker. And big thanks to Jomp for making the Conelanders points website and the organization of all that stuff. That has also been a huge benefit to us. And thanks to all you for watching. Thanks to everybody that's competed, and I hope to see you all next season. I hope you've enjoyed.